Let's talk about wealth. You know, we talk a lot about wealth, building wealth, accumulating wealth, the wealth gap, and we all on our individual missions to pursue wealth, right? Whether you are a business owner, whether you are pursuing your dreams, your goals, your passions, whether you work in a career, whether you just work on a job and just trying to take care of yourself, we are all on our individual journeys to pursue and accumulate wealth, whether that's just for us, whether that's for our families, whatever it is. But regardless of your journey, there are 3 requirements that you have to have in order to build wealth in your life. 3 things that you have to have. And you know, we talk so much about building wealth and the things that we need to be doing to build wealth, but we don't always talk about how we need to think. And I hear, you know, some people talking about mindset. But what does that mean? What type of mindset do you have to build wealth in your life? And there are 3 requirements, 3 specific things that you need in the development of how you think about your life and how you think about wealth to truly build wealth. You have to be willing to give up something. You have to be willing to lose something. And you have to be willing to wait for something. Sacrifice, risk, and patience. Those are 3 absolute requirements to build wealth in your life. You have to be able to do that. So let's talk about the first one, sacrifice. Listen, if you're not willing to give up something in your life to get what you want, you'll never get it. If you're not willing to sacrifice something for the greater good of your goals, your dreams, your ideas, your aspirations, they will never come true. You have to be willing to sacrifice. It is an absolute requirement, and you need to be thinking about that as you pursue your goals. Am I giving up enough? Am I sacrificing for this? Or do I just think it's going to happen? You have to be willing to give up something. Whether that's your time, whether that's your energy and your effort, whether that's your money, whether that's your pleasure and enjoyment, or whether that's your comfort. You have to be willing to give up the things that you hold dear and sacrifice them for the greater good of what you're trying to pursue. And a lot of times that sacrifice has to do with our enjoyment, our pleasure, our time, and our comfort. Because we like being comfortable. But in order for you to get to the next level, you're going to have to give that up. You ever had a big test to study for when you were in school, and you say, you know what, I got everything I need. I got my books, I got my study guide, I got all of my study material. I'm going to just study right here in the bed. And you had all of your stuff spread out, and you land in the bed trying to study. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you're knocked out asleep. That's because you cannot be productive and comfortable at the same time. You cannot produce anything of value in a place of comfort. And when you try and be productive at the same time that you're being comfortable, it's not going to work. That's why you can't study in the bed. That's why you can't focus enough to do the things that you're trying to do for your goals and your dreams, because you're trying to do it in a place of comfort. You're trying to be comfortable and productive at the same time, but you have to sacrifice the comfort for the productivity. You have to take yourself out of what is familiar, what is comfortable, and you have to be willing to sacrifice the feeling of comfort for the vision of prosperity. You gotta be willing to give it up. You have to be willing to give up time. You have to put the work in. There is no shortcut to work, to labor, to effort. You got to be willing to give up something. You got to be willing to sacrifice. If you're trying to hold on to things, if you're not willing to give something up, you will never be successful. You will never be prosperous. You will never build wealth. That is the first thing. You have to be willing to sacrifice. There is no person that has achieved any amount of success that has not had to trade something off of that success. Sacrifice. The second requirement of a wealth mindset is risk. You got to be willing to lose something. You have to be willing to put some chips on the table and lose something. You have to be willing to take a risk. Any place that there is guarantees, that there is certainty, that there are assurances, those things come with restrictions. Think about if you put your money in the bank in a CD, and the CD says, we're going to pay you this guaranteed rate of return. In order to have that guaranteed rate of return, there are restrictions. You have to keep your money in that vehicle for a certain specific amount of time. So in order for you to receive the guarantees and the comfort of knowing what you're going to get, you have restrictions imposed on you. And the same thing happens in life. Any place where there are guarantees, where there is certainty, there are restrictions to growth. There are restrictions to opportunity. And so you have to be willing to take a risk. And so instead, if you take that money and don't put it in a CD, you put it in some type of investment vehicle, there is a chance that you can lose. But that chance to lose, that willingness to put money at risk or put things at risk or put yourself at risk, also comes with limitless or unlimited opportunities. There is a direct relationship between risk and reward. There is no reward that is unlimited that is not connected to some level of risk. And so in order for you to grow, in order for you to put yourself in a position or situation, whether it's financial, whether it's personal, whether it's emotional, whether it's intellectual, you have to be willing to take a risk. You have to be willing to lose something. You'll never find the person that complements your life if you're not willing to risk meeting the wrong person. You'll never find the right investment opportunity that helps you grow your money the way that you need to if you're not willing to risk some of that money. Your business will never get to the next level that you know it can be at if you're not willing to take a risk and do something different. You have to be willing to lose something. Risk and reward are directly connected. There is no circumstance where you have unlimited opportunity to grow and it comes with a guarantee. You'll never find that. Opportunities always come with risk. And you will never achieve those opportunities or maximize them if you're not willing to take a risk. So you have to be willing to lose something. That is a requirement of a wealth mindset. You got to be willing to take a loss. That comes with the territory. So we got sacrifice. We got risk. What's the next requirement of a wealth mindset? Well, the third requirement of a wealth mindset is patience. You got to be willing to wait for something. You have to be willing to wait for something. You have to have patience. I meet so many people and they start a business or they get into their first investment opportunity or they do something and within a few months, their expectation is that that's supposed to just manifest itself, that they're supposed to see the rate of return required for them to be financially secure. And it doesn't work like that. You have to have patience. When you plant a seed, you have to have the patience to nurture, to cultivate, to water that seed and give it time and opportunity to grow and to show itself. The first part of the growth you never see. And that is that tree or that flower or that plant inserting itself into the foundation of the ground. You don't see that part. But that's the most important part. Because if it just grows up with no solid foundation, it's not going to hold steady. And so the first part of growth is in the ground. It's invisible. It is building a foundation upon which it can grow and sustain itself for long periods of time. But in order for that to happen, you have to be willing to wait. You have to have patience. And we live in this microwave society where nobody wants to wait for anything. You know, we start a business and we want it to be successful in the first 6 months to a year. We invest money and we want it to be successful in the first few months. You know, we jump out on faith and do something and we want our lives to change in an instant. And it does not work like that. It never works like that. You know, and I say this all the time, the microwave, as innovative as it is one of the worst inventions ever made. And the reason for that is because, yeah, it gives us food really fast. It's efficient. It allows us to prepare meals in a much, much quicker and shorter amount of time. But the microwave destroyed the process. And I don't care how fast the food comes. I don't care how it's prepared. When it comes out of the microwave, it does not taste the same. It's different. It never tastes the same. And that is because it skips steps. It takes steps out of the process. See, when you cook a meal, you have to prepare it. And you have to get all of the ingredients together. And then you have to mix those ingredients and make sure that they merge and combine in the right format, in the right way. And then you got to put the seasoning in. And you got to let all of those different ingredients and seasoning connect with each other and merge and submerge themselves with one another. And then you put it in the oven. And the oven has a whole nother process of preparing it and making sure that those ingredients connect in a way where it changes the dynamics of the ingredients. And so the ingredients by themselves do not taste the same as that fully prepared meal. And that takes time. For it to taste the way that you want to taste, you have to be willing to wait. And so our lives are very much the same way. When you start a business, or when you pursue a different opportunity, or when you invest money, or when you invest in yourself for growth, you have to be willing to wait. You have to be willing to do the things necessary to nurture, to cultivate, to water that seed that you planted and wait for it to grow. If you're not willing to wait, it will never manifest itself. It will never manifest itself. And so you have to be willing to wait. You have to have patience. Success is not microwave. Success is from the oven. And when we're talking about wealth, I can name countless examples of people who skip steps. And they got money. They got it fast. But they skipped steps. And because they skipped steps, it didn't taste the same. It didn't feel the same. It did not look the same. Yeah, they had money, but they had no understanding. They had no wisdom. They did not have the things required to sustain, to manage, to oversee that money. And so they felt rich because they had money. You can go out and buy what you want to buy. They felt rich, but they skipped steps. They were not patient enough to take themselves through the process. and it didn't taste the same. And so you have to be willing to wait. You have to have patience. A wealth mindset. It is the way that you think about the world, about your life, about your opportunities. You have to develop a wealth mindset. You need to be willing to lose something. You need to be willing to wait for something. You need to be willing to give something up. Sacrifice, risk, patience. Those are requirements in the way that you think to build wealth in your life. And if you look at everything that you pursue, if you don't have those three ingredients, it's not gonna taste the same.